Have you noticed how often we ignore signs that in the long run cost us our peace of mind and stability? On Official Sigma Male today, we're going to talk about those silent warnings that Sigma males never overlook. Because yes, while many fall into emotional traps, manipulations and toxic environments, the Sigma male knows how to identify and avoid them with surgical precision. But here's the trick. It's not just about avoiding them, it's about understanding them and learning how to protect yourself from them. If you've ever felt drained by a relationship, disappointed by broken promises, or had your privacy invaded, this video is for you. And don't worry, we're not here to judge you, but to show you how to take control and apply these lessons in your daily life. Emotionally manipulative people. A Sigma male has an infallible radar for detecting emotional manipulation. These people often disguise their psychological control as concern or affection, making the victim doubt their own perception. For example, in a toxic relationship, they might use silence as punishment or blame you for problems you didn't cause. The key is to observe patterns of emotional abuse that erode self-esteem. Spotting these signs early can save you from getting entangled in destructive dynamics. Have you noticed how these behaviors usually start subtly? Sigma males understand that emotional manipulation doesn't just happen in romantic relationships, it's also found in friendships or even at work. Imagine a colleague who constantly appeals to your emotions to get you to do their work, making you feel guilty if you refuse. That feeling of being trapped in a cycle of control is a clear sign that you need to act. Setting clear boundaries and staying calm are essential strategies for avoiding these traps. But how can you detect these patterns before they affect you? Watch actions more than words. Manipulative people tend to promise a lot but deliver little, and their actions are designed to confuse or subjugate. The Sigma male avoids these traps by trusting his instincts and standing firm in his values. That firmness isn't insensitivity, it's self-preservation. Disrespect for personal boundaries. A Sigma male does not tolerate others invading his personal boundaries. For him, respect for his space and autonomy is fundamental, and when someone crosses that line, he sees it as a clear red flag. This could manifest as something as simple as a friend insisting on knowing private details you don't want to share, or someone who doesn't take no for an answer. Constant intrusion undermines trust and can, over time, breed resentment. Personal boundaries are non-negotiable, yet many people ignore them under the guise of closeness or love. Imagine a relative who shows up at your house unannounced, completely disregarding your need for privacy. While this may seem trivial, such behaviors reflect a lack of consideration for your autonomy. Learning to defend your boundaries is one of the greatest strengths a Sigma male cultivates because it allows him to maintain emotional balance. The Sigma male knows that setting boundaries isn't selfishness, it's self-care. A practical strategy is to communicate your boundaries clearly and firmly, letting others know which behaviors you won't tolerate. For example, if someone tries to control you or constantly questions your decisions, make it clear that you value your independence. This not only protects your personal space, but also filters out those who truly respect who you are. Inconsistent or unreliable behaviors. Inconsistency is one of the biggest red flags a Sigma male identifies immediately. People who say one thing and do another create an environment of uncertainty that the Sigma male avoids at all costs. For example, a friend who constantly cancels plans at the last minute, or a co-worker who promises results but never delivers, are clear examples of unreliability. For the Sigma, such attitudes are incompatible with his vision of relationships based on trust and commitment. In the professional realm, this red flag can be even more critical. Imagine working on a team with someone whose lack of commitment jeopardizes collective results. This doesn't just affect productivity, but also causes emotional strain. The Sigma male chooses to surround himself with people whose word carries weight, because he knows that strong relationships are built on mutual credibility. To handle such situations, the Sigma evaluates actions more than promises. If someone consistently fails to follow through, it's better to reduce the trust placed in that person. This doesn't mean cutting ties immediately, but setting realistic expectations and protecting your own interests. At the end of the day, time and energy are valuable resources that the Sigma doesn't waste on relationships that don't offer stability. Excessive need for attention or validation. People with a constant need for attention are quickly identified by a Sigma male, and it doesn't take long for them to raise alarms. This type of behavior manifests in those who seek to be the center of attention in every interaction, whether by monopolizing conversations or dramatizing everyday situations to gain validation. The Sigma values balanced relationships, where both parties support each other rather than creating a dynamic of emotional dependency. A common example is a partner or friend who demands constant compliments or reassurances to feel good about themselves. While this may seem harmless at first, over time it becomes emotionally draining. The Sigma male understands that this search for validation reflects internal insecurity, but he doesn't allow these attitudes to sap his energy. Instead, he sets clear boundaries, avoiding the role of emotional savior. To handle such situations, the Sigma promotes emotional autonomy in his relationships. Instead of feeding this behavior with empty flattery, he fosters honest conversations about self-esteem and self-worth. However, if the other person shows no interest in growing or balancing the relationship, the Sigma doesn't hesitate to distance himself to protect his well-being. He knows that a strong relationship isn't about filling emotional voids, but sharing strengths. Destructive criticism and constant negativity. A Sigma male knows how to distinguish between constructive and destructive criticism. While the former aims to help improve, the latter's sole purpose is to undermine others' self-esteem. People who constantly offer negative criticism often reflect their own insecurities and toxicity, and the Sigma refuses to be the target of such attitudes. If someone constantly belittles your achievements or downplays your efforts, it's time to reassess that relationship. A clear example of this behavior is a coworker who always finds flaws in your ideas but never offers solutions, or a friend who sarcastically comments on your personal choices. Although these attitudes may seem minor at first, they create an emotionally sabotaging environment that can affect your confidence. The Sigma, however, chooses to surround himself with people who inspire and support him, leaving out those who only bring negativity. To deal with these situations, the Sigma male practices direct and confident communication. An effective tactic is to politely question the criticism. What would you suggest to improve instead of just pointing out the bad? This disarms critical people and often forces them to reflect on their own comments. By not accepting negativity as the norm, the Sigma reinforces an environment of respect and growth. People who don't respect privacy. Respect for privacy is a non-negotiable value for a Sigma male. He immediately detects those who insist on invading personal spaces, eavesdropping on conversations, or demanding access to intimate details without justification. These attitudes, beyond being uncomfortable, reflect a lack of boundaries and trust that the Sigma is unwilling to tolerate. Privacy isn't a luxury. It's a basic need to maintain emotional and mental balance. A common example of this lack of respect might be someone who takes your phone without permission or persistently asks about topics you clearly don't want to share. Even in close relationships, like with a partner or a friend, privacy should be sacred. The Sigma male understands that protecting this aspect of his life isn't just an act of self-preservation, but also a way to establish healthy boundaries that foster mutual respect. To avoid falling into these situations, the Sigma sets expectations from the beginning. For example, if someone tries to access his personal space or private information, a calm but firm response like, "I really value my privacy and prefer to keep this to myself," is enough to set clear boundaries. He also knows he doesn't have to justify his need for space. Anyone who truly respects his individuality will understand his stance without pressure. Now that you know these 6 warning signs, have you ever wondered how many of them you've faced without realizing it? Ignoring these behaviors may seem easier in the moment, but in the long run, they always take a toll. On Official Sigma Male, our mission is to give you the tools to identify, act, and protect yourself from these dynamics that only drain your energy and confidence. So are you ready to apply this knowledge to your daily life? Think about those relationships, situations, or even decisions that could benefit from this analysis. Leave a comment with your experience and share how these signs have helped you rethink your boundaries. And of course, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you won't miss more content that will empower you to live with greater clarity and purpose.